Hi, I'm Colin and welcome to How to Paint Watercolors. So if you're ready, we'll get started and we'll paint this one. Hello everyone and welcome to Painting Watercolors with me, Colin. Hope you enjoy this one. This is going to be an autumn sunset scene and I'm just leaving a thin film of water on the paper. I'll give you a quick run round of the colours that we'll be using on this. We have Naples yellow, cadmium yellow light, cadmium orange, cobalt blue, French ultramarine, raw umber and burnt umber. This is only a suggested colour palette, it's not set in stone, you can use your own colours, but I might be muting some of this down just to make it a bit cooler. That's why I'm using Naples yellow. And around about here I'm going to drop some cadmium yellow light. We will be putting in a two-stage sky, which just means that it won't all be done in one go. And I think we'll have a little bit of cadmium orange pushed into this, and a little bit up here as well. Just adding a little cadmium yellow to change that a tiny bit. Push that in here. We're just getting colour on at the moment. Bring some of this orange towards these trees here. There will be mist things in here. Take some of the cobalt blue and I want to put a touch of burnt umber into that, and I really want to turn this into a grey, and that looks reasonable. We just check that, yeah, okay. Just bringing this together. Be careful as you come into the yellow so you don't get a green. Touch more, make this one a little darker. So we just drop some in. Just making it interesting. Bring some around here. Then what I want to do is take some of the cadmium orange down. I'm going to darken it with some raw umber. A little touch of this in as well. It all looks a bit of a mess, but you have to have a vision where you're going with it. And I do want some of that in between these trees. And I'm going to take some water and I'm just going to drop this in and just allow the water to push some of these colours about. Drop a little more in here. Just dropping one or two more stringy clouds in. And I want to come down here a little bit. Just put a little bit of Naples yellow in here. Just drop some cadmium orange in. Just a little bit of cadmium yellow. Take some of the grey, that can go in as well. Just a question of getting colour on. Don't be frightened of doing this. Just using what I've got up on the palette. And I want to drop some water in here as well. Just maybe create a little mist just to start off with. And I'm going to leave that to dry. Now that's nice and dry. I've just clipped it down with some bulldog clips and I'm just going to re-wet the whole of the sky area. Don't mess around with this, just get it on. Disturbing very little of the paint underneath. Then I'm going to take some French ultramarine into that and I'm going to darken this blue. Some burnt umber in that as well, so that's just French ultramarine with some cobalt blue and burnt umber. And into this I'm going to drop it in here. I'm watching for the spread. You can begin to drop in the darker cloud and it should sit on top of the other paint without it disturbing it too much. Just floating it through the water. Making your sky really interesting, and just using the tip of the brush, I'm just dropping the paint in. See how that's done? You can decide how much spread you want on it just by the timing that you put the paint in, but I want this to spread a little. Break up that little patch here. Can play with this a little while. Clouds down here around the back. I do want it dark in certain areas. Remember, this will dry a lot lighter. Really make your skies interesting. And then I'm going to leave that to dry. Once your sky is dry, I'm just going to put some clean water onto where these trees are. And I'm going to bring the water into the lake. We're going to create some mist. Same in this, and just undulate the water. Don't have it all one height. And then we're going to make some, I'll bring a little bit more blue into this. There's some burnt umber and raw umber. There's a little bit of yellow to it. A little bit of that yellow. I just want a sort of a very greeny black. That looks okay. I'm going to take a mop brush and pick some paint up on the tips. And we're just going to start to bring in some type of evergreens here. Very simple. I'm going to start at the top, outside of the water, and just touch the tips into the water and allow this to run and spread. You just put a full set of trees in with no real effort. Same on this side. Even if trees some different heights. Just adding colour in now. So that really is just how quickly you can put a background in. And along the bottom, I want to drop some water into the colour. Once again, it will push the paint around, which is what I want it to do, and will leave you with some misty areas. I don't really want a hard line of where the shore ends and the water begins. So I'm just flicking some of this water up and taking the excess off. Then you're going to let that dry. Now your background trees are dry and the mist has appeared, as you can see it. I've re-wet the whole of the island, really wet, and I've brought it into the lake area because we're going to be misting this up as well, so I need a little bit of playroom, for want of a better word. And I'm going to drop some raw umber into this. I'm just following the shape that I've drawn. And I'm going to drop some burnt umber in, so we're going to put some shadows on the sides of these and give the land some shape. But I do want it to come down through the water just a moment while it's all nice and wet. I'll add a little bit of yellow to that. French ultramarine, burnt umber, let's just see how we go with that. And I'm just going to drop some of the tree trunks into this first. This is just the start of the trees, but it will attach them to the ground and sort of make them melt in to the island. It gives you a real good indication of where your trees are. I do want to leave some of the raw umber showing through. It's only a little. The board is laying flat. Just giving a little indication where everything is. Make some a little darker again. French ultramarine and burnt umber again added to that. Making a real nice dark colour. I'm just using a rigger brush. I'm just going to pull out some of these trunks a little bit more. It's just so you can see where the trees are. Really do have plenty of time to do this because everything is really wet, so don't panic. And I also want to pull out sort of bits and pieces off this as well. Don't have these all going the same way. They're all grasses and bits of twigs and sticks and things. They don't all grow uniform. To take a brush, and I want to take the excess paint off along the bottom, and you've guessed it, we're going to be adding water. Taking some clean water, just want to drop this in, just push it up. Just allowing it to create that mist. Take the hard edges off so you see them forming. Flick the brush up a little bit. As this is nearly dry, what I've just done, I've just turned the board upside down, and it's still wet, but it stopped running, the water still stopped creeping. And I've just put the tree trunks in with the brush, and I'm just showing you how I'm putting the branches in. And this is a fine rigger brush, what they use for painting sail rigging with. That's why it's called a rigger brush. Sometimes in USA they call it a detail brush. And just remember to give your branches some interest. And what you can do is begin to fill your trees out with this. Don't mind bringing it into the sky, you do want to fill quite a lot of this up. So I'm going to carry on with this, and we'll come back to this when I've got all the branches in. But I think you get the idea. And sometimes if you turn the board around, it's easier to pull the stroke out to get a thin branch, which is what I'm after. So I'll carry on with this, and we'll come back when I've filled the trees out. Okay, I've just turned the board round, I've filled the trees out, and I've just taken two different sizes of mop brush. I'm going to take the smaller one first, break it open. Some of the same colour, and these two trees here are a bit like Douglas firs, so they've got quite a lot of foliage on them. So I'm going to put them in first, and I'm just using the tips of the brush for this. This is why I didn't put too many branches on these here, and I'm just manoeuvring this where I want it. I'm going to move to my bigger brush for this one. I'll wet it. I'm going to break it open. What I actually want to do is just add a little bit of raw umber to that. Make sure the tips are dry. Break it open. Let's see how we go. Change the colour just slightly, and once again I'm just touching the brush on. Could even add some of the orange into this very gently. As it's autumn, you can put a few autumn colours into it, but just be careful. That's a little bit too much. Just helping to change the colour. If your brush clumps up, spread it out. It just adds a little bit of colour into the tree. Same goes for this one here. I do want to change that to a darker colour as well. Not too much on the paintbrush, very little paint. Once again a little bit of the murky colour, that murky orange. Some of the darker colour. Now that your trees are dry, I've just re-wet the whole of this lake area. I'm going to take some of the orange once again, cadmium orange. I'm going to put a few strokes of this back in just to strengthen areas up a little bit. Always remembering that everything dries lighter. Horizontal strokes, that's a bit of cobalt blue, and into that I'm going to drop in some burnt umber just to grey it, same as the sky colour, maybe a bit bluer. As the grey comes into the orange, it will actually grey the orange, which can be quite useful. Just gently pulling these colours together. Some of this orange will show through. Darken up an area or two. Just to show some variation in the colour. I don't want to go too deep with it. We'll be putting some ripples in, but right at the moment in time, we're once again going to drop some water in. Allow this to push the colour out of the way. Just keeping an eye on any hard edges that might be forming, and just take them out with a damp brush. I've just left that a moment or two, a few minutes, just to allow it to dry a little bit. So I'm going to put some reflections in. I'm just mirroring the trees. And also I just want to put one or two ripples in as well, just to give a little bit of movement into the water. With the paper still being damp, these should soften slightly. You'll hardly notice them, but they will be there. I think maybe we'll just have a couple of birds in the sky. 3, I think that will do. I just put some wind streaks in with a craft knife and a ruler, here and here. Just helps to break it up. This is where you get to sign it, mount it and frame it. I hope you've enjoyed this one. You've learned how to do a 2-stage wet in wet sky with clouds, background trees with mist, misty island, and autumn trees, reflections and water. So once again, I'll leave some suggestions at the end of this video for other videos I made for YouTube should you wish to view them, and see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.